Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunatu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Does anyone have any questions on what we have covered so far? We were doing Vedanta Treatise. We are on the chapter Strength of Emotion. Any questions? Brinda Hariom, you have a question?
Yes, Janki ji, I have a question which I have written here, so I'll be precise. This is related to charity that we were talking about. It's like this. I need to understand the difference between charity and sacrifice in context of these two characters. The first is, what kind was Karan's charity? He knew it would lead to his downfall. And secondly, Bhishma was being sacrificial and charitable by taking his vow, even though it was against righteousness. Please comment.
Who's the second person?
Bhishma Pitama. Mahabharat?
Yes, you said it was against righteousness.
No, because
His war, his.
yes. So
How did you get that?
he had promised to defend the Hastinapur throne, come what may. So
Oh, like that you mean? Okay,
yes,
I
yes.
see. Okay, so his vow wasn't against.
Yes. So even when they were doing things which were wrong, he could not protest because he was bound to the throne. And did he not foresee this being what he was and things? So was it sacrificial? Was it charitable? What was it?
Okay, so what is charity and what is sacrifice is the question. So what is sacrifice? Let's do that first. Sacrifice is, in the right sense, is when you give up your likes and dislikes towards the goal that you are pursuing. When you prioritize your goal over petty likes and dislikes that we all have, then that is known as sacrifice. Such as, I want to be a singer. Okay, so in the morning today I got up, I don't feel like doing my riyas. Okay, so I have to sacrifice this petty like and dislike and remember what I'm trying to achieve. So this is the concept of sacrifice, where you sacrifice your likes and dislikes towards the goal that you are striving towards. Now, what is charity? Charity is a benevolent disposition towards those who are less fortunate. It could be in terms of wealth, it could be in terms of health, in the sense, there's a visually challenged person which you help, or a lame person who you help. So it could be material in terms of money, it could be in terms of physical abilities, it could be in terms of emotion. Somebody is not feeling so emotionally stable and you are helping them at that point. It could be in terms of intellect, where somebody is ignorant versus whatever you are knowledgeable in, or it could be spiritual. So, charity is our benevolent disposition towards those who are less fortunate than us. Okay, so I repeat the two definitions. Sacrifice is sacrificing likes and dislikes towards a cause. Charity is a benevolent disposition towards those less fortunate. Now, both of these can be misunderstood. When we start handing out stuff right, left, and center without using our intellect, Now, this does not come under charity. Okay? Now, using your intellect doesn't mean being selfish. Seeing whether it is actually in the benefit of the person who you are giving it to. Okay? Now, what happens sometimes is in our attempts to do charity, our motivation moves from benefit of the person to other things, such as honor or just conditioning or any such thing. But it is not designed for welfare, in which case it does not come under the pure definition of charity. Now, Karna is known as a great Danavir. Okay, in his case, it is the physical acts of giving that he was doing. It was not necessarily the benevolent disposition of helping somebody who was less fortunate. In fact, if you go into his psychology, you may even get this feeling that this poor guy is making up for, what should I say, his own feeling of lacuna, that he has had a pretty sad life, and so he has spent his life kind of almost what should I say, being bound to his past, totally bound to the past. He was not able to independently think. Independently think means independent from his past. So in the absolute true sense, he is not a Danveer, but he was exceptional in his giving, in the sense that he even gave when he knew that this is not something he can afford to give. So in that sense, he's known as a Danveer. Okay, so Karna is a complex case. He's not a simple case. We like to make it black and white, but he's a rather complex case. It is sort of goodness which is, he represents goodness which is not well directed. So he's separated from his father, the sun. The sun represents knowledge, so he's separated from all this. So he's got the goodness and all that, but it was never well directed. He had high ability, he had some goodness, enough for him to be known as Danveer, but it was never well directed. Now, in the case of Bhishma Pitama, the story is completely different. Bhishma's life was a life of sacrifice. I mean, like literally, you learn what sacrifices from him. His father wanted to marry that fisherwoman. So the fisherwoman and father were happy to marry each other. The fisherwoman's father said that no, my wife will be treated badly, her children will be treated badly, and they will never inherit the throne. So he says, okay, fine. I promise you that I will not ask for the throne. Their children will get the throne. He says, you may not ask, your children will ask. Okay, I promise you I won't get married. So have you been attending the Bhaj Govindam class?
Yes, very much.
Okay, so remember the two motivations of life, Kanchana and Kamini.
Yes.
So Bhishma's life is, I give up Kanchana, I give up Kamini. I give up wealth, I give up the throne, and I give up Kamini, I give up being married. So basically he says, I will live a life of total sacrifice. Now, total sacrifice has to be well understood. He said, I give up the throne. That means he gives it up. Means he's no longer the king. That means he no longer can make a decision. The king will make the decision. He gets this. We don't get it. We just don't get it that the king will now decide. I have given it up. Let me give you an example. I give you a gift. I give you a very pretty sari. Then one day I meet you, and with you is your sister-in-law who is wearing that very pretty sari I gave you. So I think in my mind, I gave her and she gave it to her sister-in-law. Right? When I think this thought, this is an egoistical thought, because I am continuing to hold possession of the thing that I have given away. Right? What of your things you give your sister-in-law is your business, not my business. If I think this is your thing, why do I have a comment? Right? So we don't give up. When we give something up, we don't give it up. The story of Bhishma and that horrible incident of Draupadi and all the awful things Is the moral of the story is when you've given it up, understand you've given it up. Okay, you just give it up. That is sacrifice. It is gone from his head that he has any view in this matter. His job is now citizen, he follows the king. So this is the greatness of Bhishma. That's why he is so worshipped, because he didn't just physically give. When he gave, it was gone from him. I mean, gone means there was no mental holding of this thing, which is very, very difficult for us to do. For us, it's very easy. Physically give. But no mental holding of that thing any further is very difficult.
Does it not clash with his with the policy of righteousness that okay, he gave it up, but when Draupadi was being disrobed, he kept quiet. He could have protested. That would not have gone against his vow.
It would have, because he as an ordinary citizen is not expected to do that. Not in that scenario of monarchy and all that. This is democracy you're talking, where the ordinary citizen has the right to protest. Not in that. You have to understand his situation. It's exhibition of character, though he's criticized for that. Everybody criticizes him for that. Actually, it's exhibition of character. He couldn't bear it. He was as offended by that act as any one of us are. But he didn't do anything. He didn't say anything. He just kept quiet because he is a citizen now. He can say, "No, you stupid boys, this is my kingdom you all are fighting over." He never says this. He never thinks this thought. What are you people fighting over this mad thing? It's mine. No, never, never you'll come across this kind of attitude. That attitude is what we need to learn.
Thank you very much. You explained it very well.
Okay, does anyone else have any question? So we studied the emotions, the positive emotions, love, kindness, and all that we studied. Now, what do we do with these kind emotions that we have? Our first job, obviously, is to cultivate good, kind emotions. Good emotions like love, like kindness. That's our job. If we don't have these good emotions, if we have negative emotions in our heart, if we have anger and greed and jealousy, we will just be very agitated. So we should not encourage this nonsense in our own minds. What's the use of it? It's not giving us or anybody else any good. So we convert our negative emotions into positive emotions. Now, okay, now we've converted our negative emotions into positive emotions. Remember, it's emotion. Now, what about the action? What are we supposed to actually do? So we are going to now study about what you actually do, the effect of manifestation. Having an emotion is a very good thing. When you manifest that emotion, when you act upon that emotion, when you do whatever you feel like, as it were, what will happen? So let us study that. Effects of manifestation. Who will read this topic? Come on, who will read it?
I'm happy to read.
Go ahead.
Okay. A feeling directed to high ideal is effects of manifestation. A feeling directed to a high ideal is noble. Your attitude to serve and sacrifice is indeed commendable. They are fine emotions which embellish your personality. Nevertheless, Vedant cautions you against the adverse effects of manifesting them indiscriminately. However chaste an emotion be, it would be unwise to express it without intellectual direction. An unintelligent manifestation of even a good emotion may bring about a negative result. For example, you may love all creatures alike, appreciate and admire their individual beauty and grandeur, yet you cannot express your feelings for them in the same way. You may pick up a kitten and caress it, but it would not do that to a serpent. So, this says that we have good emotions within us, but we should express them only with intellectual governance,
Right. Because,
because they may otherwise have negative results.
yes, very good. So, whatever emotion, we should develop good, kind emotions, nice emotions that will keep our mind peaceful. Negative emotions only agitate us. So, we should create good emotions in us. However, we cannot act on those emotions indiscriminately. That means without intellectual governance. You can't say, I love this person very much, and I go and hug that person. No, you can't. You just can't, unfortunately. This is where all our troubles start. You'll see this even in children. You go, you feel very affectionate towards a child, and you go and try and hug the child, and the child, it runs away. What? Aditi, are saying something?
Sorry. Ji, I think my mic was on by mistake. So apologies, my mic was on.
Okay. So you go hug the child. The child is like, just want to get away because you didn't choose your time and place. Choosing time, place is a matter of your intellect. You cannot do this. You cannot afford to express even your negative emotions indiscriminately. You cannot express your positive emotions indiscriminately. Just because you feel like giving something to somebody, you can't give it. Just because you feel like expressing love, you can't express it. This is very difficult for us to understand. We feel, oh, that's so hypocritical. No, it's not. It's just sensible. It's not hypocritical at all. It is being more loving because you are sensitive to what the other person is going through when you are going through whatever you are going through. You're sensitive to the situation. It cannot be that I feel like expressing my love to you, so now you at the same time have to automatically feel just the same towards me. How is that possible? It's not possible. People are following their own internal, what shall I say, cycles are going on. Somebody sometimes wants to spend time with you, sometimes doesn't want to spend time with you. Again, after some time, will want to spend time with you. They are following some own internal cycles. Why are we going and interrupting these cycles? Why don't we have something to do with our own lives instead of going and disturbing other people? So, expression of positive emotion. Expression of negative emotion, most people can understand. They say, yes, if you're angry, you shouldn't show it. In fact, you'll hear all these things. What do you do if you're angered? Don't say anything. Wait for count till 10 before you do something. You'll hear this. But you will not hear that if you're feeling positive emotions, you have to do exactly the same thing. Wait. There are people who, in their positive emotions, can actually ruin their lives and have ruined their lives, not out of negativity, but out of positivity. So careful. The mind is used to jumping and getting excited about things. Nothing wrong in jumping and getting excited about things, but there has to be some supervision over what's going on. So here is an example a story that is there in the scriptures. Who will read the story?
Chanki
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Is that to me or somebody else?
Yes, to you, Sanjay.
So I'll read both paragraphs together because they are connected.
Yes, please.
You may love your spouse dearly, but you cannot afford to express your emotion indiscriminately at all times. If you do so, it would cause nausea to the other. The relationship may end in bitterness, perhaps a separation. A parable explains the effect of unwise expression of emotion. A serpent lived in the outskirts of a village. It was a menace to the villagers. It attacked and poisoned many of them. One day, a sage passed that way. The serpent charged out of its hideout. It was about to strike. The sage stood unperturbed. The assailant recognized the divine person and begged his pardon. The good man advised it not to be hateful and cruel and create so much disharmony. The serpent repented its aggression and vowed to live peacefully. Days later, the sage returned the same way and found the creature lacerated with wounds. He inquired as to the cause of its pathetic state. The serpent replied ungrudgingly, "Sir, I merely followed your wise counsel, expressed my love to one and all. The villagers pelted me with stones and brought me to this condition." The wise man rejoined, "I am sorry I had not conveyed my message properly. I did ask you to live in harmony with others, but not to express your love indiscriminately. Without a feeling of hatred, you should have hissed and driven them away."
Continue, Sanjay.
Okay, to the last one. So it is with life. You must learn to manifest your inner feelings with discretion, with caution. Your intellect must ever be alert to direct your emotions into proper channels. That is intelligent living. So the first two paragraphs are an example of where we need to use our whatever expressions or whatever emotions we feel. We need to utilize our intellect that needs to govern the reactions and the way we express our emotions. So it's given in this example of the serpent, which was acting according to its nature and would come out and attack everybody. We met this wise person who gave the serpent advice, and the serpent took that advice. It took the advice as if,
We did not summarize the entire story, just the idea is sufficient.
all right. The idea is again, as in this example, that the serpent used its expression indiscriminately. It acted the same towards everybody, whereas it should have realized that people who take that action would interpret it differently. So,
Discrimination has to back the action. Otherwise, God alone knows what is going to happen. And so let us just understand one very important concept about this, which is learning to give emotion and learning to take emotion. A very important concept that we must know. So, Chitra, you switched your video on. Do you have a question? Uh, this it is extremely difficult for us to learn love. Very difficult for us to learn how to give love, to be loving, to be caring. It's very difficult to make that conversion from being so self-centered into being a loving, caring individual. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of time. It's a sign of spiritual growth that we are able to love people. Okay. Having said that, there is something even more difficult. And what is more difficult than learning to love others is learning to take love. It's a very difficult thing to be able to take love. It's not easy at all. Some people can give love, but taking love is a difficult. It's 20 times more difficult, or 100 times more difficult. Think of this example. A husband tells his wife, "I'm so happy to have a wife like you. After all the day when I come home, I feel so relaxed and comfortable coming home and being with you." And she immediately turns around to him and says, So, darling, when's our next trip to the US? This is called encashing love. Immediately, the moment you know that somebody loves you, somebody cares about you, the instinct in us is to encash that love, to take benefit of that love, to use that love, to actually abuse that love. If you can meet somebody in this world who does not encash love, hold on to that person. You've met a person of character, a person who will not take advantage of that love. So you have to be extremely, extremely careful when you show love, because most people, 99% of people, don't know how to receive that love. They will take, innocently, of course, they take advantage of that love. Even in my team, I've often told these, all of them, um, be careful. Be careful on how you express affection for everybody. We have to have affection in our heart. We have to have that care, that sensitivity, that empathy, that just wishing the welfare of the world. That is in our heart. But our action has to come from our head. Because if we do not learn carefully, if we do not carefully discriminate what you're showing to whom, you never know what the other person is going to do with whatever you have done, whatever you have shown. So taking love is way more difficult than building love, and we must know that. If you are truly and genuinely a loving person, you must take care of the fact that the other person is not damaged because you are showing this love indiscriminately. That's part of being loving. That I won't allow you to spoil yourself because I am loving towards you. This is just part of being loving, to be sensitive towards the welfare of the other person. It's not about me and how much I love, but about you and whether you are capable of taking that love which I am just because I feel like it offloading on you. So, this is an important concept for us to understand, the concept about how difficult it is to take love. You know, we know that, right? The boss is not too close to the subordinates because they will encash that love. So any person uh, um, has to keep their own sort of um, discretion of how much affection they can manifest to others without spoiling the other person, without creating a problem in the life of the other person. So that is you may have, you may express positive emotions and create problems for yourself, as explained in the chapter in the story which Sanjay just read for us, or you may express it and create problems even for the other person. So be warned that if it is difficult to become a loving person, it is 100 times more difficult to be able to receive love, to receive it without, should I say, encashing it in any manner, to receive it without using it, abusing it in any manner. So carefully comprehend that. It's a difficult concept to understand. So if you have any questions on that, we can take that up now.
Yes, Janki ji.
Yeah, Bharat.
Yeah, besides the point that you encash on it, the other person would overdo the expression. So that could be another reason for finding it difficult to take love, right?
Sorry, I didn't get the other one was what?
The other person expressing the emotion would
Hmm.
be most likely be mind-led, so would overdo the emotion of expressing.
You're talking about
So
the
that
other person overdoing expression towards us.
yes, yes.
Okay.
So that would be another reason of finding it difficult to take love, right?
Oh, you're okay. So you're saying that when a person expresses too much emotion, the other person is not able to take that degree of expression. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's right.
And that's an example of not being able to take love.
Yes. Like
No.
for instance, I
Huh?
might not. Yeah, for instance, I might not cash in on somebody's love, but the other person would be just overdoing it, which I might find it difficult to take. So that could be another reason of finding it difficult to take love, right?
No. This is the other way around, I think, because there's some disturbance in the sound. But okay, so I'm just repeating it. If there's a problem, you stop me. Your thing is that somebody is offloading emotion on you, and it's a lot of it, and therefore you are finding it difficult to take love. This is so too much emotion is also an expression of difficulty in taking love. No, this is not an example of that. This is the example of how, when you are a loving person, the other person is just letting loose with you. The other person is taking advantage of the fact that you will freely give of your time. So it is the other person in this case who is encashing love, not the receiver. Is that clear?
Yes, but I meant that this could be another difficulty in taking love as far as I am concerned.
No, this is not. This is a difficulty in giving love. Giving love means not having given it discriminately. That's why this situation comes about.
Gee. Okay.
So, in other
Thank
words,
you.
I
had a question.
yeah, 1 second, Surekha, I'll just give you one
Yes.
more example. In other words, it is like somebody, X person, is freely giving of their time, energy, everything. So a person Y just says, "Oh, I'm getting freely of this person's time and energy, so let me take as much as I can." So the onus is on person X to curtail that, in the welfare of both parties, of course. To curtail it, just because I'm available doesn't mean you can offload everything on me. Okay, take it easy. I have something in my life other than dealing with all the stuff you're throwing at me. So then I have to be careful how, what am I telling other people that they can just sort of take undue advantage of me. So anyone offloading too much emotion on us is an example of them taking undue advantage of our loving nature or our goodness or whatever. So the onus is on us because we have not manifested our goodness properly. Okay, Bharat?
Gee, so like the serpent, we can bite once in a while, right?
What can we do once in a while?
Like the serpent, we can bite once in a while, right?
Yes, you can bite once in a while, but whatever manifestation you do it discriminately. Bite when it's time to bite and be loving when it's time to be loving. But yes, we have to do both things in life. We have to draw our own lines. Nobody's drawing our lines for us. We have to say, no, thank you, I won't do this. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, but I won't do this. Thank you. So we have to draw lines. Just because I love somebody doesn't mean whatever they say is now God's word and I have to do everything they say. No, there's no such thing. We are free to say no whenever that's the right thing to do.
Gee, thank you.
Yes, Surekha.
Hari Om Janki ji.
This is regarding receipt of love, which you said, and most times it doesn't strike us as being that important. But another important aspect about receiving love is reciprocating love. So is there anything that you can throw light on that also, please?
Reciprocating love in what sense? When we receive love from somebody, we should reciprocate. Is that what you're talking about?
That's right. And what is the right way to do that? Because you have to be discriminate while receiving love or reacting to the love that you receive. So the other thing is the reciprocation of that.
Yeah, so being discriminate only, when you receive love or when you give love, when you receive love, you make sure you don't encash. Like, say, Surekha, you are a very charitable person and you are always willing to underwrite, sponsor things. So if there are people around you who like to encash, then they know that you are that kind of person. So they will try their best to get as much as possible out of you. Now, if you find such a situation, then the onus is upon you to be more discriminate in how you're expressing that charitable nature. Okay? So the onus is always on us. So if people are trying to be too friendly with us, unnecessary interference in our life, the onus is on us to draw our lines properly. So whatever is happening from the other side, whether they're giving or they're taking, the onus is upon us to maintain the right balance in the welfare of that relationship. Okay?
Right, Janki. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. After a long time, a question from you. You were my
Yes.
main questioner at one point of time.
Yes. You were talking of the using intellect while giving love. Another aspect which we observe is very difficult to accept a compliment. This is, of course, the opposite way. It is nothing to encash also. But somebody says, no, you've done this well. No, it is nothing, not me, not this, that. It's very difficult to accept a compliment. Of course, this is not directly into expressing your love.
No, it is in the sense people are giving you their love when they are complimenting you. So, in a sense, it does come in. So, yes, it is difficult. It is culturally difficult because in our culture, we believe that if I say I'm good at something, this is really bad of me to say that. So we are put in a social situation where you cannot admit to being excellent in something. So it's just good to follow the Western way. It says, thank you very much. Finish. End of story. Let's not discuss this matter anymore. Thank you very much and move on. So that's just an easy way of doing it.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Here I have some question. Yeah, somebody said something.
Yeah, I'm Tejal Janki ji.
Oh, Hari Om Teja.
Yeah, Hari Om. I had a question. One thing, if somebody takes us for granted, that means we have not expressed our emotions in a right manner. So we are responsible for it.
That's right. Correct. Absolutely right.
And second, can you give one more example about learning to take emotions?
One more. You heard Surekha's one that if you're a charitable person and somebody keeps asking you for more and more money or makes use of everything that you are happy to give, if you have a maid in the house and you're very charitable towards the maid, she just takes shortcuts because she knows my bhabhi is not going to say anything. So all this, imagine if you have a staff member who without your supervision just does whatever they're supposed to do, versus some people who will encash your love in the sense they know you're a kind, loving person, so they will try to sort of get away with whatever they can. Children also do that. They try to get away. They try to see how much they can push their parents. But you draw the lines. You have to draw the line yourself. You have to be discriminate in how you are presenting your affection. So most people, what they do is they try to love less. You don't love less, you love more, but you pass it through the intellect.
Okay, thank you, Janki ji.
So Sangeeta says, does that mean that a loving person shows his her vulnerability or weakness by showering his her love, and that is the reason people will try to encash on one's emotions? So love is a weakness too. No, love is a strength. The weakness is in not using your intellect along with it. Your arrow is sharp, but your bow is weak. So the arrow doesn't do very much. So the arrow is a good arrow. Don't get rid of the good part. Get rid of the bad part, which is that the intellect is not doing its job. So a loving person shows his or her vulnerability or weakness by showing her love, by showering her love. No, not necessarily. You shower love because you're a loving person. When you shower it indiscriminately, it means you're not using your head. You shower that same love discriminately. It's very nice, very, very nice to have a loving person around. The reason people try to encash one's emotion is because of the absence of the intellect, not because of the presence of the love. The love should be such, our loves should be such that it is in the benefit of others. It is not to their detriment. So when they encash our love, it is to their detriment. We are encouraging selfishness in people. So we should not be doing that. Is that okay, Sangeeta?
Yes, yeah, Hariom ji, thank you.
Jatin says, in a marriage, especially, one spouse is typically more expressive and the other is less so. How can you avoid friction in this case? Jatin, there is no friction because one is expressive and the other is not. The friction is because the one who's less expressive usually wants that the other is less expressive, and the one who's more expressive wants that the other is more expressive. The friction is not because of the difference in nature. The friction is because of the difference, because of the expectation involved. So I want you to be a reflection of what I am, instead of being able to enjoy you for what you are. So it's, a rose is a rose, and you enjoy the rose for being a rose, and a lily is a lily, and you enjoy the lily for being a lily, and whatever, an oak tree is an oak tree, and you enjoy it for being an oak tree. So once we learn to do that, there is no friction whatsoever. It is the unreasonable expectation that brings about that friction. And if you feel that my wife or my husband requires a little more expression, then think about different ways in which that expression can be given. If you think my wife or my husband requires less expression, then offload this expression on other places. Don't give it to people who don't want it. Okay, because people want, there are many people who want to chat with us. You don't have to chat with people who don't want to chat with us. Okay.
Ji, Janki ji, thank you.
Simran, you have a question?
Yes, Hariom Janki ji, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Firstly, wishing you a very happy Teachers' Day.
Thank you.
Second, I had this question. Now, when you talk about not being discriminate with giving and taking love, is it something that we should look at objectively from the very start itself? No, love it can be with a parent, it can be with a teacher, it can be friend, partner, spouse, anyone. Now, in such cases, in case we start being very objective from the start itself, there is a chance that we may just push the other person away, right? Because uh, you may not want to bring in that measured side at the very start itself. Do we do that from the core? Do we space it out? Are there stages to this?
No, this is ulta. If you are objective from the very beginning, you will become attractive from the very beginning. Because you will be one person who is doing something sensible. Objectivity is not about keeping a distance. Objectivity is about using your head to know what is the right thing to do at this time. Okay, you're not measuring anything, you're just being sensitive to what the situation is. Okay, your mother comes in tired and all she wants is a cup of tea. So you say, would you like a cup of tea? Then you're being objective because you're seeing what she wants. But if she comes in extremely tired and you want to tell her what just happened in your life, and she's not got the mental ability to listen to it, that means you're not being objective, you're being impulsive. Okay, so objectivity doesn't mean you are like keeping some kind of distance. It means you're just taking one step back to see what is the situation here, not just do whatever I feel like. So if you live in any relationship like that, the other person will be like thrilled to death, because obviously things are happening smoothly for that person. Is it okay?
Yes, it is. Thank you so much.
Using your, Sangeeta says, using your head to decide is the hard part again. Yes, Sangeeta, that's true. When the heart is overflowing, to control it is curbing and holding. It won't that bring sadness to our heart? No, not at all. It'll bring gladness to our heart. You're not holding the emotion. You're not saying, oh, I'm feeling so loving and I'm not going to express it. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm checking whether this is the right time for me to express it with you. It's perfectly fine to express whatever overpowering emotion you have, no problem. But please notice what's happening to the other person at this time. Please take cognizance of that. So if you take cognizance of that and okay, this is not really the time for me to tell my daughter how much I love her. This is not the right time because she's too preoccupied. Okay, so I don't say, I keep quiet. Then someday I do see that, oh, this is the right time to tell her. And I say it. And I say it, and then she's very happy, I'm very happy, and the relationship is very good. Otherwise, I was not sensitive to what she was feeling. I expressed all the love and all the overpowering emotion. She was preoccupied with whatever else was going on in her life. Then I am sad. That brings sadness to my heart because I haven't had that whatever emotional connect with that person.
Yeah, you got it exactly what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else has any question on manifestation of emotion?
Yes, Janki ji, I had one.
Go ahead.
So now, actually, the last when you said, it's confused me a little bit more. I was going to ask another question, but let me ask this: that it's okay to give that kind of emotion in the sense if at the right time, if it's the right time.
Of course,
Okay.
why not?
So then wouldn't you be taken advantage of?
Then
Because
how was it the right time?
When the person is probably receptive and happy, and it's a moment.
Yes,
But that
it's the
moment
right
can also
time, right place, right person, all of it.
okay.
Okay, look, I'll give you an example. I'm very upset with my husband. He's just irritating me. Please, he's not irritating me, just as an example. He's just irritating me too much. Now I'm very irritated with his behavior. Okay, he's just I don't know what he didn't wash the dishes or whatever it is he didn't do. So I'm very irritated. Now I'm very irritated. I have this emotion going on in me. What is my instinct? I'm locked up in the house with him, and then he does something. He leaves his glass. So I tell him, "Am I your servant to pick up your glass every time you leave it all over the house?" This is incorrect expression of emotion. Or I tell him, you don't do this, you don't do this. I'm so irritated with you. I can't bear to live with you. This lockdown is horrible. I'm waiting for it to get over. Okay, this is all wrong ways of expressing emotion. Okay, now I'm really irritated with him. And I feel I need to vent this. Pick up the phone, call your friend, curse your husband to the friend, not to the husband. Cool down, and then think, what is it I want him to do? How do I get him to do whatever it is I want to do? And then deal with the situation. Just as an example, okay? Now, don't please all of you all call up your friends and start cursing your husbands. Don't do that. Just as an example, vent with the person who's available to listen to your venting. Do not vent with the person who is not available to listen to your venting.
Janki ji, you're talking about love. This is about reciprocation.
Same thing. Give your love to the person available for taking your love. Don't give it to a person not available for taking it. If you're giving a diamond ring, would you like to give it to somebody who values that diamond ring, or would you like to give it to somebody who doesn't value the diamond ring?
The chances it's not black and white. No, sometimes it's like it's not the person is completely not worth giving or the person is completely worth giving. So how do you? This is intangible. So how like how do you like not be taken advantage of, because that person at one point can be extremely accepting towards your love, and at another point take advantage of your love. So then you can't choose that person who's, oh, this person is wrong or this person is right.
But you can choose the time and place.
But wouldn't that person still take advantage of you at some other point when at that point he may not have taken, but maybe at another point where his mind is not in the correct frame of mind and taken advantage. So how do you, or then my next question is, how do you make the transition from, if you're a kind of a person who has this habit of showing a lot of love towards whatever, your children, your husband, your near and dear ones, how do you make that transition? Because it is going to be pretty evident when you stop showing the emotions that you used to show at once upon a time. So wouldn't that create a little bit of a friction or an issue in the family? Then
No,
what is
why? No, why? Here is a person who is, according to you, showing extra emotion to the family. The family is getting fed up with it. Now that person reduces it, they should be happy, right? So there's no friction. In fact, the earlier friction will go away.
okay?
How can there be, somebody is telling you, oh my God, you're expressing too much. Can you just chill? And you chill, and the person is unhappy. Then that person is mad because you did exactly what that person wanted. So then you can't go up and down with the person because the person is crazy. So you just be yourself. They are going to criticize you, whatever. There's some people like that. They criticize you, whatever you do. So you just do whatever you want. But there are some people who genuinely are finding it difficult to deal with certain aspects of our personality, in which case we should cool off.
Got it. Thank you, Janki.
Anyone else has?
Yes, Janki, may I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
Namaste, we are meeting after a long time.
Yes.
I was just going to refer to the example you gave. You said the husband comes home and expresses appreciation for his wife. He says that, I feel very comfortable when I come home, etc. So the wife doesn't know how to, because she doesn't know how to take his appreciation, she may not react back lovingly or anything. But if she understands he expressed his love, and she maybe because she's not the type who knows how to take appreciation well, she may not give the right reply. She doesn't mean it, but she may not give the right reply because she is not as expressive as her husband. So there's no wrong in what. I mean, if they know each other, they will understand each other.
Yes. If
No,
they know
but
each other, they'll understand each other.
no, but when you said that and caching, that's what I meant. That she may make just because she doesn't know how to take a compliment from anybody or her husband at this moment of time. Oh, she might say, okay, take me out or do this for me or do that for me.
Yeah, so I mean, if she doesn't know it and he doesn't know that she doesn't know it, then she must train herself and just learn to say, smile, say thank you. You don't always have to express a lot. As long as you have acknowledged that the person has said something and that you're happy that the person said it, it's good enough.
No, that is the best way to react. But most people don't react. I mean, the people who feel embarrassed with being told sometimes show a reaction which is not meant to react in that manner. I find
Then
many
they have
people.
to learn, no? If that person is me, then I have to learn how to do it. If I feel that I don't react properly, see, Arun Sinha had the same question that, so what happens if it's difficult to take a compliment? Then learn, say thank you.
That is the correct way.
That's
But
it. Finished. End. That's it. Just say thank you and smile, look happy, say very sweet of you to say it, whatever you want to say, or as much as you want to say. Even just looking up into the eyes of the other person and smiling is enough sometimes. You don't have to do anything dramatic. But you have to learn how to talk so that the other person gets your meaning. If you don't take the onus on learning how to talk so that the other person gets your meaning, then you can't blame the other person for not getting your meaning.
okay, thank you.
Sorry?
I said thank you.
Is this recording of this class available? Yes, it's available. It's on YouTube and it's on Instagram. Sangeeta says, simple concept of wife wanting love and husband wanting respect. Why is it so difficult to follow? It's difficult to follow because, Sangeeta, unfortunately, I have to give you the same answer because our head doesn't work. Why is it so difficult? Because we don't take the small baby steps that we require. We keep trying to find out. We'll ask questions like, why can't I do it? Or why doesn't that person do it? Let's see, let's ask questions that say, how do I make this happen, rather than why isn't this happening? So how do I make this happen is always a more productive way of asking the question. Asking ourselves the question, okay, so now this is what I want, so how do I make it happen? And then hopefully I will make it happen.
So today on Teachers' Day, please bless us with the intellect so we can apply it.
Well, I wish blessings worked. If blessings work, why don't I start by blessing myself? So it is.
You need to bless us. Happy Teachers' Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so anything else on expression of, manifestation of emotion?
Yes, Janki, can I ask?
Yes, please, Anuja.
If one person understands what you're expressing and the other person doesn't understand, how is that I can be wrong? Like the onus is on me, as you say, to this thing, that if one person understands the same thing and the other person doesn't understand for this thing.
That is normal, right? People have different abilities, different. When a teacher takes a class, it is the onus on the teacher to make sure that everybody in the class understands what is going on. Now there'll be different levels. There'll be some people who get it very fast, some people who struggle with it, some people who don't even get that they haven't got it. Different things, but you have to do your best to make sure that everybody's getting this at whatever different level it is. Now, even after that, people don't put in their own work, then the onus is theirs. But we always begin with taking the onus, taking the responsibility, saying that, let me do the best I can first. Have I made every attempt to explain? And then the other person is simply not going to put an effort, then now that's that person's business, not mine. So the onus always begins with us. So I'm saying something to two people. One person gets it, one person doesn't get it. So then now I have to use another method to explain to person number two who's not got it. After that also, the other person is obdurate. Then now, to main kya karu? Live with it. So onus is on us.
Okay.
So once I've come to that position, then I understand that this person is not going to understand. Then I'm not going to go on and on beating my head over it. I don't have to go on with it. So again, onus is always mine to take the right action. Is that clear?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so then that's it on manifestation of emotion.
Thank you.
Bharat.